Hey folks, Sam here at NA Studios. Thanks so much for checking the video out. If you haven't done so already, please remember to subscribe and check out the new members section where there's loads of fun goodies there for you to take advantage of. Early access to videos, suggesting videos, drum samples for free, loads of stuff. Today I want to take a look at a trick, maybe an accident, but it was something that happened in the Slayer recording sessions or the Slayer mixing sessions for Rain in Blood. Now this is from Andy Wallace. Andy Wallace, for those of you who don't know, world famous mixing engineer who has mixed so many of the albums that you'll know, the albums that you'll love. There was a specific sound that he created that was kind of by accident involving a Lexicon reverb unit. So the legend goes that he was mixing this track and had the Lexicon on the guitars, turned up the send to the Lexicon and just heard this sound which wasn't what he was expecting. It wasn't a reverberated sound, it was just like a parallel kind of dirt sort of sound, and it ended up on the final mixes. So I want to show you how you can do this in kind of plugin land here and get some really great aggression and tone to an already kind of dirty sound. So let's check it out. So I've got a Slayer-esque kind of riff on 4 guitars here, panned left and right, and this is just a JCM 800 kind of sound. I've already got the effects engaged, so I'm just going to mute this and just listen to it without, and then we'll play it with. Okay, so there's an extra dimension kind of added there, an extra little bit of girth, a little extra bit of kind of balls to it. I want to show you how to set this up so you can do it for yourself and create a massive guitar sound. Now, this is actually a emulation of the original piece. So this is the PSP AudioWare Lexicon PSP 42X. So this is an authentic replication of that same reverb unit. The reason that it sounds the way it does is because that Lexicon has a kind of 2-stage compressor in it. And by turning up the feedback circuit, you're essentially sending the signal back into the unit. So it's a common thing with reverbs and delays that you'll have like a feedback circuit. And the more you turn up that feedback, the more kind of delay you get or the more reverb you get because you're sending it back into itself. But because this unit has the 2-stage compressor at the input, by turning the feedback up, you're essentially turning more up into that compressor. So you're getting a really compressed, parallel compressed, aggressive kind of sound. Let's just take a listen to this on its own. You'll hear exactly what's going on. So the settings, I've got the input turned all the way up. Output is turned down to kind of be a little bit more gain matched, so I'm not just adding a load level. Feedback is all the way up. That one's really important. The other one that's really important is the delay time is completely down. So we're actually getting no delay, no reverb. We're just getting the sound of the unit. Now, I don't know whether they've purposefully exactly replicated that 2-stage compressor using these plugin emulations, but it sounds good to me. And it sounds like it's adding a whole load of new dimension, a whole load of parallel dirt, and a whole load of new kind of crush. So in my mind, it works. Let's take a listen to it just on its own, and then we'll see how we can kind of manipulate this a little bit. So this is just the Lexicon, just that effect. If we go to the processing section, we've got it on Legacy at the moment, which is a little more kind of mid-heavy. If we go to full, then we're going to get a completely different sound. To me, that Legacy has got the most kind of bite to it, the most mid-range sort of aggression. And we're really just slamming the output back into the input here. This is all we're doing. So if we have the input all the way up, you'll see that this headroom, the 0 dB, the clipping is taking place. We're essentially clipping this unit. And it's just kind of clipping it in a nice way so that when we bring it up underneath the original guitar, it's just adding a little bit more something to it, a little bit more kind of grit. So bringing that up underneath the original guitar, let's just start off with the original guitar and then bring this up underneath it. And really, the more gain you have on your amp sims or your actual guitar amps, the better this is going to sound. So if I just go to, I'm actually just using the Overloud THU slate here. So if I just bring this gain up, and then all I'm going to do is go across to all of them, copy it, and then go across to the next one, paste that, give them all a little bit more gain, and we're just going to get a little bit more kind of drive going into that lexicon unit. So starting off without it and then bringing it up, we're going to have a bit more drive, a bit more gain on the guitars. About there. Just adds a load of body, adds a load of bottom end. It's like a parallel compression thing, but with a difference. It's parallel compression with a bit of overdrive, a bit of overload, a bit of kind of clipping, but not clipping in the way that we normally think about clipping. We think of clipping as being bad. This is kind of good clipping because it's emulating that double stage compression that's really just slamming down on the sound and adding a load of girth. I hope it's been useful for you. This is one of those techniques that is kind of a little bit known in some circles, but the large majority of people just aren't aware of the exact practices that went on in the studio. And yes, it was great playing. Yes, it was great amps, but that's kind of 90% of it. The rest of the 10% on top is these little tricks that go towards contributing to that overall sound. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again soon. Take care.